Freedom of the press is in fact dead in Canada. We've known this for a while, but this is going to a new extreme. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. This is indeed a sad, sad day to come forward with what's happening in Canada because, well, we've all known for a while that free speech and freedom of the press is non-existent in Canada. When we look at the ongoing overflow and onslaught of paid prostitutes by the government's almighty dollar, as most news organizations like CBC, CTV, Global News, they're all funded through the Liberal Party of Canada in order to push their propaganda and spread what Justin Trudeau likes to always brand as, quote, misinformation. Well, the last bastion of what I felt, aside from YouTube and YouTube channels, for an actual news outlet that covers media, aside from outlets like True North, well, we see Rebel News. Now, a lot of people have scrutinized Rebel News over the years, saying that they're a lot more like tabloid reporters, and it's hard to see folks like Dave Menzies when they're as aggressive as they are when they're out in the field. But I'll give Dave Menzies a little bit of a nod of the cap here, that he definitely is an aggressive reporter, but he gets in on his stories in a way that not only shows the hypocrisy of what's going on, but he demands answers. If you remember when he was at the skating rink where Patrick Brown had rented out ice during COVID measures and was playing hockey with his friends, David Menzies was, of course, threatened with arrest then. David Menzies has been arrested multiple times while doing his job as a journalist for Rebel News. So when the news came out yesterday that, hey, David Menzies had been arrested again, I kind of shrugged and said, that doesn't surprise me. But as I looked at what happened, that's where things got a little sad. You've probably seen it by now, and I'm sure a lot of people know what's going on, but just for those who have missed it, we're going to take a look at what happened yesterday. David Menzies approaches Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, and he outright just asks some basic questions about Canada and what's happening in Canada with the clown politics of the Liberal Party of Canada. And what we see here is absolutely disgusting portrayal and a setup where David is, how do you say it? He's basically put in a position where he has no argument to be arrested, and it's all false accusations. Let's get into that. I want to show what's going on, and then we're going to discuss.
Ms. Freeland, how come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government supporting Islamo-nationalism? What?
Right there. I'm just going to pause it right there. Do you see what happened there? This police officer, as he claims, or member of security detail for Chrystia Freeland, bumps into David Menzies. He blocks David. David does not touch him. David does not make any effort to move this person out of the way. He doesn't show any aggressive force. He's simply doing his job. Let's take a look at that again. You can see him moving in over here as David's trying to walk around. There's the bump. Just smiling. You see that sinister smirk from her as she's walking away. She knows what's coming. She knows what's going to happen. I'm willing to bet this was pre-planned.
Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault.
Arrest for assault. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, we're going to go through the whole video, and I'm not going to continue pausing as much as I am, but did you see any form of assault there? Was there any kind of physical violence that went on? Any form of a threatening manner from David Menzies? I mean, the man is, what, in his 50s? And this is what they're focused on. Now, again, well, I just want to go back a moment because you see as Chrystia Freeland's walking away. There, look at that. She knows what's happening. She's proud of this. This is the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada. So proud that she's caught Rebel News, that They're going to arrest David Menzies, and boy, is she going to show him a thing or two about free speech in Canada.
You're under arrest for assault. Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault. You're under arrest for assault. Police, you're under arrest for assault. How am I under arrest? You bumped into me. You pushed into me. I was just scrubbing. I got my credentials here, and you just bumped into me. So excuse me. Police, you're under arrest. What is your name and your badge? What is your name and your badge? You've been told you're under arrest. Why am I under arrest? He blocked my way. What? I was just scrumming Chrystia Freeland.
I'm a police officer. You're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge number?
Assaulting a police officer.
How is that possible?
Okay, because
you assaulted me 3 years ago when blackface was happening.
I was very aggressive. What was happening?
You mean I was asking questions aggressively?
No, your actions were. You were almost pushing everybody over. That's how it appears.
Lincoln, you got this on video, right? He's saying I'm pushing people over.
Yeah,
that's an absolute falsehood.
There were feet were shuffling.
So now it appeared that way. That's what you're saying, officer. It appeared I was pushing people. I didn't touch a single person.
That was a little bit aggressive for what was happening. Get that. You're under arrest. Please take the microphone out of my face.
Well, I'd like an ongoing record of this.
Can I have the microphone? Can I have the microphone? Can I have the microphone? No. Can you give?
I'm not resisting. Take your hand out. Why am I under arrest? I'm just doing my job.
Stop resisting. You don't need to resist.
I don't have.
You don't have to say anything. You know the drill.
I have nothing to hide, officer. Welcome to Black Faces Canada. This is what they do to journalists. I was merely scrumming Minister Freeland, and a RCMP officer blocked me, and evidently this is now a trumped-up charge of assault, folks. I didn't come here to cause any trouble. I came here to do my job, and now I'm handcuffed. This is your Canada now, folks. You know, this is the Gestapo taking blackface's orders. Outrageous. And meanwhile, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is not a terrorist organization. Is not a terrorist organization. And these liberals have the audacity to show up at a vigil for a plane in which almost 200 people were killed, 57 Canadians, one unborn child, by the way. And look at this. They don't want, it is against the law in Black Faces Canada to ask insensitive questions.
David Menzies hitting it right on the head there. And this is where it's important to recognize real journalism. This is what real journalism looks like. This isn't a paid prostitute shill from the government. This is somebody looking for real answers. This is somebody who's questioning the authoritarians. And this is what happens when you dare stand up against the government. Do you know who else used to prosecute people for standing up against the government? I don't know if you guys remember this this moment not too long ago in the House of Commons. Remember this, when this happened? Wait a minute. I am a member of the Waffen SS, and he was invited by Chrystia Freeland and the Liberal Party of Canada to be recognized in the House of Commons, where, by the way, Chrystia Freeland had ties to actual Nazis and ties in the Ukraine that leads to the Nazi party. Well, it certainly seems like she's practicing her family history as we look at journalism in this country. And I am happy to at least report that David Menzies was let go with no charges, of course, because how can you make charges stick when there are none to begin with? Now, this was simply, in my opinion, something that was done to merely deter them from reporting. Hopefully that they feel if it scares them enough, then Rebel News will simply stop covering the Liberal Party of Canada. The Rebel, I almost said Liberal News. Rebel News will actually back off. And now, of course, we know Ezra Levant and we know David Menzies, certainly amongst all of other Rebel News reporters that have been on the ground as far back as situations like the Freedom Convoy and throughout the pandemic, making sure that the news is getting out there, that the questions that most Canadians have on their minds is being answered. So we know for a fact that Rebel News isn't going to back off. And in fact, Ezra Levant releasing a statement that they've actually spoken with their lawyers and they will be suing for wrongful prosecution. as well as a couple of other charges, such as false arrest. Now, I've never been one to really push to say, Rebel News, again, often is looking for fundraising for a lot of causes, and I'm not saying that those causes aren't warranted, but this is definitely one of those causes where they say they may need some help with legal bills because, let's face it, going to court isn't cheap. I can tell you right now, Ezra Levant stated that Chrystia Freeland is prepared to spend millions of Canadian dollars in order to defend her actions when it comes time to going to court over this. And I'm happy to see that taxpayer dollars will be paying for this trial because I would like to see an actual news outlet hold the government to accountability. And if it means that our tax dollars are funding that, it puts them on notice and it starts making these things more relevant in society. I think it's necessary. So I agree with it. I agree with taking them to court. I agree with taking them as far as you can in terms of liabilities. I think this police officer who clearly probably pays for services of his own outside of his workplace, he should be let go from whatever position he holds within the police. I think that that's an abuse of power. I think he should be reprimanded and discharged for his behavior. I don't agree with how things were handled. And of course, even Pierre Poilievre tweeting out this morning that this is the state of news in Canada. This is where we're at. Let's take a quick look at that before we finish things up here. This is the state of the freedom of the press in Canada in 2024 after 8 years of Trudeau. Now, many people will say Pierre Poilievre is simply looking to cash in on this unfortunate event. But it's good to see somebody calling out the media outlets' defense for what happened against Chrystia Freeland. If you remember back when Chrystia Freeland was in Alberta, a very angry individual confronted her, screaming some obscenities and was ultimately charged. Now, I at that time said, people are angry, people are mad, people have the right to be mad, but I didn't agree with his stance on that subject. However, at this point in time, I think there's going to be a lot more people that are questioning just what Chrystia Freeland's trying to do to Canadian people, as well as the Liberal Party of Canada. This is the end of free speech. This should scare the shit out of every single Canadian that sees this. This is suppression. We are supposed to live in a free country where we have the right to question our government, we have the right to news, we have the right to media, we have the right to free speech. It's all being squashed by Justin Trudeau and his Liberals, especially for asking questions. If you missed our video earlier this morning about Hamas and the blockade of bridges in Toronto and police delivering coffee to them rather than stomping them with their horses like they like doing to their own Canadian citizens. Well, you should go check that out and you should take a look at it because those are the real problems in Canada right now, and they all stem back to our government. I've never been one to advocate for violence. I've never been one to tell people what to do, but I got a bad feeling that in 2024, civil war is going to start brewing. I think the Liberal government has pushed back against its citizens enough that you're going to start seeing things get a little hectic, so to speak. And while, again, I will certainly not encourage that kind of behavior, I definitely think that it's warranted by people that are frustrated. I think that people feel that they're going to get to a position where there's no other option but for those actions. And, well, all I can tell people who don't want to be a part of those actions is batten down the hatches. 2024 is going to get messy. At least that's how I feel. That's my opinion. Let me know your opinions down in the comment below. Are you as appalled as I am at what happened to David Menzies? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're able to, if you're in a position to help Rebel News, certainly go over, give them a hand. This is going to be one hell of a legal battle, and it's one that I'm more than confident Rebel News is going to win and should win. And I certainly sit here wishing David Menzies the best. I know he was sitting with outlets like Viva Fry this morning, so go check out that interview. I'm sure it's very captivating. If it's first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure you're hitting that button to click your bell for notifications because, of course, just like freedom of the press, Justin Trudeau bans any kind of speech against him on YouTube. And, of course, these videos get buried in the algorithm, so make sure to hit that like button so more people can see it and push it out in the algorithm. Make sure to leave your comments, folks, and share it out so that everybody makes sure that they know exactly what is going on in this broken, corruptible country that we call Canada. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one.